How to succeed on a low income. It's an interesting topic, and I feel like I am an expert on this topic because I am on a low income, and I feel like I've managed to succeed at 97% of the things that I have set out to do over the past many years. So I've been thinking about how I've managed to succeed on a low income and put together some thoughts on that. This is going to be how I have brought about the changes in my life that I was seeking. So if you're looking for tips on how to manage on a low income in a high cost of living area, that's not this video. This is going to be how I've managed to succeed in spite of my low income in areas that are not only about the money. So there are 5 things that I've done specifically, and I'll let you know what those 5 things are. Number 1 is I got really specific about what I was looking for. I remember I sat down and I thought, if I had to choose between having millions of dollars and finding a relationship that I felt really great in, which would I choose? And not that I said it millions of dollars, because millions of dollars is pretty hard to turn down, but I did prioritize a relationship over going out and earning a ton of money. That's certainly not to say that you can't have both, but in my situation, I chose to go become the kind of person that would attract the relationship that I really wanted. So that's exactly what I did, and that's exactly what I attracted. So I got really clear about what I wanted, because it's possible to be miserable in any situation. But in this case, I decided that I wanted to, again, change the kind of person I was to be able to receive and to give affection and love in a relationship. So that's number 1. Number 2 is gratitude. And I think that gratitude is sort of overall the number 1 thing that I do kind of on a daily basis. In addition to being very clear about what I'm working toward, I aim to have gratitude every single day, because it's just that simple thing that will shift my focus from what I don't have to all the many things that I do have. And it's easy to kind of be a little bit Pollyanna about it. My child is stirring right now. And kind of dismiss gratitude as a practice. But I will tell you, I have a notes folder on my phone, and I set out 3 things that I'm grateful for every single morning. I aim to do it before I get out of bed. Not always possible before I get out of bed, but at some point during the day, I make a point to sit down and list at least 3 things that I am grateful for that day, 3 things for which I have thanks. Number 3 is about lies and truth. So I take the lies, I identify the lies that I've been believing, and I replace them with truth. And this is a really important thing that I started doing. Especially when it came to relationships and being a part of a relationship, I realized that I believed a lot of lies. Like I wasn't capable of being in high value, high quality relationship, that because of my past history or my parents' history, that I was doomed to failure in a relationship, and all these things that were not necessarily, I wouldn't have believed consciously, but they were part of my subconscious. So I identified those lies and I replaced them with the truth. For example, of saying, rather than saying I'm not capable of having a relationship, it's not possible for me to be in a high value relationship, I would say I'm exactly the type of person who can be in a high quality, high value relationship. I'm learning new skills every single day. I'm open to receiving. I am changing every single day. I am changing my thought patterns and my beliefs. I am worthy of love and affection. Those were the biggest things that I changed about my mindset, and replacing that in my subconscious, in my psyche, made a huge difference in the reality that I was able to accept, in the specifics that I was able to accept, in particular in a relationship. Number 4 is affirmations, and those, again, taking those truths that I affirmed in contrast to the lies that I had been believing. I took those truths and I said them to myself every single day. I was literally programming my subconscious to receive what I then became worthy of receiving. So that's something that I continue to do now, and it's challenging because if I don't believe it, if I don't believe what I'm telling myself, then myself will kind of sniff out the dissonance and will reject that as like, oh, well, you don't really think you're worth that. So it's starting with very simple statements that I know to be true. For example, I know that I am someone that is devoted to learning. I know that I am someone who is open to change. I am open to a new way of thinking. I'm open to a new way of receiving. I want to receive more. Sometimes I can want to receive more, but not be ready. So just saying that I have this desire is kind of like a placeholder. I say, I am ready and waiting to receive this. I am willing to receive this. And eventually I become the kind of person that does receive this, and that will immediately manifest. I would say immediately, that will come to be in my reality. Sometimes very, very slowly. Sometimes it will take 10 years. It has taken 10 years, but it will happen because that is what I am looking for, and that is what I am reflecting out into the world. And the fifth thing is consistency. There's a quote that success is like 3% effort and 97% consistency. And I fully believe that in any area of my life. It's all about being consistent in the areas that you know will get you closer to your goal. Now, if you're consistently negative or consistently working against yourself, that is something that's not going to work for you. But if you're being consistent in those small changes that lead you toward a better place, then that's certainly something that will, again, move you along towards your goal, even if you're on a low income, kind of especially if you're on a low income. So that's another thing, is that progress isn't always linear, right? It's not like you're always going this way. Sometimes it's almost all of the time, at least in my experience, it's been like this, but eventually that chart keeps going. It's like what you want your index funds to look, what you want your stock portfolio to look like. But persevering, especially when it feels like you're going backward in your income journey. For me, when it feels like I'm going backward, I feel like that's a perfect time to make more moves forward. For example, and I know this is, if you've heard this analogy, forgive me, but I feel like it's a good one sometimes. It's like when an archer looks to shoot an arrow, they have to pull the arrow back first and then let it go. And that's certainly been the case in my situation, where I feel like I've had to take 2 steps forward to take 2 steps back to take 9 steps forward. And that's certainly been a way that I have succeeded on a low income. So that's just kind of an overview of the 5 steps that have really worked for me to survive and thrive on this low income. And again, it all has to do with mindset and choices and being very clear about where I'm going. I'm currently in the process of redesigning my life to get to the next area that I'm looking at. I made my 5-year plan, and it was a little bit vague. I'm not gonna lie. It was very unspecific, because at this point I feel like I'm adjusting to a new reality after 10-15 years in an old reality. I had been single and childless. Now I am married with a child, and I feel like that is a huge adjustment. And it's been less than a year that this has been. Just a year. I've been married a year, and the baby's 7 months old. So I am still adjusting to this new reality, and I know that these are the steps that will get me to the next phase of life. And I aim to be very intentional and very conscious in how I design the next stage of my life and what success will look like in that phase. So that's what I got for you, and how I've managed to succeed despite or on this low income in a high cost of living area. Let me know if you have any questions. I am committed to sharing my journey and my progress with the intention to inspire you in your journey, wherever you are, whatever you're dealing with. If you feel like you're in a mess and there's no way you'll ever get out of it, keep walking. There's always hope. That's something that I have learned. You're never beyond hope. That's probably the biggest thing that I've learned in this 10-15 years of my journey so far. So again, I'm committed to documenting my progress and sharing that with you, and I hope this is inspirational. As always, I thank you so much for watching, and I hope you'll keep watching. Bye.